What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming.
Shut up and sit down.
Here we are, Midday Monologue Monday, my friends. How's everyone doing? And for this week's episode, I want to talk about something that you could say has been building up to a slow boil for the last several years. Board game burnout. Well, is that a little dramatic? No, actually, I don't think it is. Because there's a sense of burnout on anything. Anybody can get burned out on something. It's a sort of a sensation of being in a rut. You know what I mean? And that happens even with your buddy here. But I don't know if it's quite as dramatic as I make it sound. It's dramatic, but as? Let's take a look at this. I've been playing board games as long as really my memory is active. Since 4 or 5 years old, I remember the kid games being played, like Chutes and Ladders. But I didn't really become a hardcore gamer until Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, back when I was 8 years old, that's when this all really hit me. I started getting into board games as well, but especially the new board games at the time, things that were a little bit different, thinking outside the box on a board game, like Hero Quest, basically board game Dungeons and Dragons, or Dark Tower. You had that massive electric tower that told you things and ran the game for you. That is really what started me. But still, I didn't go out of my way to collect a lot of board games back then. Because to me, board games were secondary. To me, it was all about the RPGs. That's where my home has always been. Whether it's been with any of the great TSR titles during the 80s and 90s, or nowadays with Wizards of the Coast, and in between with White Wolf. I've been very much into role-playing games. So the board games, although they were still played, they did take a back seat. Then, on a personal note, for those of you that don't know the channel very well, don't know me personally, or just haven't heard me mention this enough times, because it comes up. And that is that we, back in 2009, there was an apartment fire, and we lost everything here. So, ever since then, it's been a slow climb to reestablish things that I had, and along the way, a lot of things I didn't have. So we were playing a lot of third edition Dungeons and Dragons at the time, and when all of this happened, and I mean all this, I mean everything from the fire to rebuilding from the fire, restarting over from the fire, which took years to rebuild and redo, as you can imagine, and then getting right up to a bit of burnout I had with some of my players just before COVID hit, and then COVID hit. So, I mean, we were banged pretty hard as far as the gaming group goes. And even leading up to the big COVID shutdown of everything, there was a hard time getting everyone to RPG. A little bit of burnout, as I mentioned, but also partly due to the fact that the group had gotten too large. I think we were up to seven gamers at the table at that time. So you can imagine the problem with large RPG groups is that it gets difficult for everyone in the group to agree on a date for one day a month, for everything to coincide for the group to be able to get together as a whole. Now, that was getting tough. We were having days where 2 or 3 members, just couldn't show up. And it got to the point where I was getting tired of retconning everyone out to put them back in, or having everyone, run someone else's characters constantly. It got to the point where we just, slowly kind of gave up a little bit. And we started delving more into board games. So this is, less of a commitment. Mostly speaking. I mean, there are some campaign games. And I did get a few of them. but never got the chance to get into them as much as the non-campaign board games because of the same reason that we were having trouble with RPGs. Gee. Yeah, so I'm at a point now where I've lost track, maybe about 750 board games in the collection, not counting expansions other than standalone expansions out of different games, right? I lost track at about 500. I think that was a few years back. I think I'm probably around 750, maybe. But who cares? Who cares about the number? You know, if you have 10 games you love, or is it better to have 50 games you like and only a few of them you love? I don't know. I don't know where the splicing of the hairs is there. I think that's not a personal decision, right? But to me, I'm at this point where I'm looking around, all the stuff over here, all the stuff over there, the stuff behind me over here, the stuff over there you can't see, and then I got one whole shelf directly in front of me that's just Dungeons and Dragons board games with RPGs on one side and a whole shelf of terrain stuff on the other. That's what I'm looking at when I look around, the nerd wasteland here, and a couple of things. One, as you can see, space. There's not enough of it. There's just, getting to be no more space for more games and expansions and stuff. Yeah, I hear you, John. You can get rid of some, you can sell some, you can give some away. You have friends, you have families, you have a channel you can run a giveaway pro. Yeah, I get all that. I know that. I'm a bit of a hoarder. So that's down low on my option list for me. To me, it's much easier to just stop. Well, kind of stop. What I mean is what I have versus what's out and what's different. How many different dungeon delving fantasy board games can I have? Most of them are so similar. It makes me wonder whenever I see a new one come out, why? As far as my wallet goes, why? And that's just I'm not picking on that one genre. You can say that about any of the popular genres in board games, right? You can say that about the sci-fi stuff. You can say that about the horror stuff, the zombies and Cthulhu games, right? What's different enough, really, that's going to make me want to get it anymore? Most of the board gaming experiences I want to have, I got options for. So I balance that with the fact that I'm a bit of a completionist. And there are some things that I really want to keep going and keep getting, even though the collection is outgrowing itself. So I think I got a couple of categories, right? Well, 3. See, I got a category of publishers to watch, of completionists, let's be honest, and then I wish there was more. There are some games that don't have expansions that I'm really wishing would come out with something. All right, so the way I'm looking at it, publishers to watch. What I mean by this is not expanding upon something that's already necessarily existing, but I really like these publishers, and I'm very interested to know what they have coming out next because they have a good track record, at least with me personally. And among them, is Ravensburger. They just blow me away. Everything they've been coming out with, I've really enjoyed. I like the effort and the work they put into the production of the game. I like the way the games run, the rules, the mechanics of them and all. Me and the 20-Sided Warriors have no problem with Ravensburger games at all. And depending on what they come out with, I may get a few more Ravensburger games to squeeze into the shelves over here. Fundamental Games. Fundamental Games is a smaller publisher from Canada that I've known for a while. They've they love sending me stuff to show off and make videos for. So full disclosure on that. But even if they didn't give me this stuff, I'd be lying if I said that they didn't produce good games. I really enjoy the way they do put their games together, the concepts for their games. I mean, a card game all about you being one dragon and your friend being another, and you're just having a dragon battle with each other. I love that. Or the reverse dungeon game they have called Die in the Dungeon, where you're the monster fighting off the advancing party of adventurers. Yeah, so I'm interested whatever Fundamental Games is coming out with. I definitely want to check out and know about. They're one of the companies on this to watch list for me. Game One Games. Come on, Game One Games with their tiny epic stuff. You know, whether I like it or love it, title by title, I mean. I'm always watching to see what they have next. You know, I was waiting for them to finally come out with Tiny Epic Cthulhu, which they did. And now the next big bucket list game for me, for them to come out with, would be some sort of Tiny Epic superhero game. You know, I noticed that they've done Tiny Epic Game of Thrones now, which is the first time they're changing their game titles up. Usually it's Tiny Epic blank, but blank is one word, Western, Galaxies. Now it's Tiny Epic Game of Thrones. So if they're going to do titles and franchises and IPs, come on, Tiny Epic Marvel Heroes, please. I'd get the deluxe version of that and the expansions for that. I'd go in hog wild with that. I think everybody would. Then if you can get the IP license for DC, you can come out with a DC game using the same rules so we can combine them and have a Marvel DC game. Funko Games. Funko Games is right up there with Ravensburger Games as far as I'm concerned. They come out with great titles, good concepts for games that catch my attention. And these games are written well, and the rules are usually running smoothly enough with what I think is well put together, edited rule books. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at them, and as well as Fallen Dominion Studios. Ever since their first edition of Fallen Land, I've been in love with that game. The company is a great company. They work really hard, and John and Sean, who run it, are really great individuals, very personable, nice guys. John has emailed me personally several times. We direct messages several times, sometimes out of the blue. Very cool. And that's the kind of individuals they are. Very cool. So I got my eye on their company as well, even though, this run is slowing down. They're not. Okay, now I got my completionist games. Games that no matter, even if I quit board gaming altogether, 99% altogether, these are still things I'm going to collect because I want to have the complete body of work for. And that's like Marvel. Yeah, Marvel Champions. The card game is definitely on that list of mine. Along with Hero Quest. I can't get enough of Hero Quest. I'm just finished the second quest, Keller's Keep, and I still got what? I still got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. I still got 8. I still got 8 quests to do, and they've already announced the forests, the Jungles of Delrak, coming out in August, which I pre-bought. When's it gonna be a time for that? I don't know, but I want everything they publish for this damn game. And I'll say the same thing about Return to Dark Tower. But honestly, I don't know what else they can do for it. It's already beginning to feel a little much. And I'm sorry it feels that way, because I don't want it to. But to be honest with you, they're really going to have to do something surprising, something amazing, something epic for the next expansion they have, because it's beginning to feel like, why? So please, give me something radically new and epic for that. But I'm still on board with being a completionist with the Return to Dark Tower series. Horrified. The games are all standalones. They don't connect. I don't care. I love this game. What's next? I have no idea. Maybe Horrified Alien Monsters. Or I've been thinking about this too. Horrified Medieval Monsters. And definitely have it set up in a medieval setting. Oh, nice little village in there. I'm totally on board with more Horrified. Marvel Villainous. Marvel Villainous is another title that I've really gotten into. Me and Ron especially. I got to get the other guys a little more into it. But yeah, Ryan and Andrew do play the Disney Villainous, so it'll be a no-brainer for them loving this. But I would get more. I would get more of the Marvel Villainous. And of course, as I just mentioned, Fallen Land. Fallen Land, as I mentioned in the other category, anything at all that comes out for Fallen Land, that game, I'm there. Regardless of what else the company comes out with. I'm always going to be there for any advancing of more stuff for the Fallen Land game. Now, like I said, there's a couple of games I really wish that there was just more of. And right off the top, I got to say, I wish that there was more Dungeon Mayhem. In fact, I would like to see them do the same setup again. Come out with a 4-hero box, then a 2-hero tuck box, and then another big box collection for more monsters. I think that's a great setup the way they do it. Give me more. Give me more. And along those lines, give me more Marvel Mayhem as well. I think it's an insult that we only have the one box of 4 heroes and they haven't given us more like they did with the dungeon stuff. Come on. We need it. It's a great game. Blood on the Clock Tower. Any more official products that are downloadable or sold right out, I am going to get. I want to have everything for the Blood on the Clock Tower universe, that world game system. And Star Wars Outer Rim. That's definitely on my list. I don't know if they are coming out with anything more for it. I feel like they do have some room for sort of some expansions down the line. And if so, I'm totally there. I'm right there to get it. And the final one that I'm really keeping my eye out for is if anything at all comes out for the Dungeons & Dragons cooperative adventure system. I feel like the system's dead. I feel like they've abandoned it without making any formal announcement about it. And I hope I'm wrong. I want to see a druid in that game. I want to see a monk in that game. I want to see an illusionist in that game. There's so much more they could and should be doing with that system. And since the last one, cracked open pretty much the level cap, it makes it so much more like the real RPG D&D. So that's how I feel about board game burnout. It happens. Deal with it. I'm sorry if it disrupts you and your group. And I don't say that sarcastically. I say that from the heart because we've suffered from that over here. But sometimes, even when you're suffering from the burnout, there's still a couple of things that are going to remain on your list. So if you ever suffer from board game burnout, what is it that you would still be interested in getting? What is that one title that's still going to have its talons in you? Thanks for listening. I'm your buddy Big John G. with Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and I am out of here.